Hello again everyone, Unknown Reefer here again. This time bringing you a review for the Bubble Magus filter roller. In fact, let's just turn my light back on. I'll take my filter off as well. These are just little lights I've got off Amazon, little sensor ones that are rechargeable. That seem pretty good. They do run out, but you can just charge them straight off a USB plug straight in. But what we're talking about now is the filter roller. Now, the first thing you'll see with these Bubble Magus ones is they are huge. My original plan was to actually have the skimmer in the same front section with it, but that just didn't work out. Unfortunately, it was a good idea, but it was just too big. There we go, I'll just have them flash on, don't have to worry about the light turning off then. So I first did try having my refugium in sort of in this bit underneath, but that didn't really work. So now I've got some of my filter media, which needs a bloody good clean though actually, and my heaters in there, and my refugium's back to being in this centre section. I just find it grows better there, and I try to cover up the skimmer, but it seems to work better in there. So yeah, the first thing you got to consider is they are huge. Secondly, I would, if I were you, if you're going to get one, I would never let the roll completely run out. I saw a video online of somebody stapling the new roll onto the old roll and pulling it through. I managed to do it with just some Gorilla Tape, got it stuck down and pulled it through. Oh, there you go, it's just activated. Because you have to get it, the top bits are easy enough and the motor part's easy enough, but you need to get it down and round. There's two, I don't know if they'll show up on camera, there's two like roller bits, no, I can't really get them, inside it that go, so it comes down here, it goes over a roller there, comes along the bottom, comes over another roller and comes up. There's no way you are getting to those without taking it out of your sump and getting it apart. Especially if you're like me, I bought this second hand. So when I bought it, I didn't get the flexi hose with it. So what I've done is I just melted the downpipe, just put a heat gun on it, melted it onto the connector and just put it straight in down there. So I always keep an eye on this and make sure it's not going to run out. Saying that, it takes, I think the first one was in for 3 months or so, 3-4 months, something like that. And then I changed it over just before it was going to run out and put this new one in. I got the new rolls for about £12, I think it was, from Swell. So the rolls aren't too expensive. They seem to last a reasonably long time. Yes, I could have gone for the Clarity or the nice new Red Sea filter roller. But obviously they're quite expensive. And the guy had this in my shop, local shop, as second hand with a brand new roll for about 80-90 quid, something like that. So I was about to go away on a work trip, so I snapped that up and got that installed before I went away. It does make the reef tank a lot easier to look after. So all I do now is empty the skimmer, refill the RO, which is just about needing a refill. And then I've got my doser pumps going in, and that's about all I do with the tank now, and clean it. Obviously water changes as well, but I have been a bit slack on those due to my work schedule. But I'm going to get back on those. I did a 75 litre water change. So this is a 425 litre display tank without displacement in any of the rocks. So I have been doing water changes, but maybe not as many as I should. But this seems to keep the water nice and clear, nice and clean. My skimmer pulls out. I've had to set it quite wet, just to actually get anything, because most of the particulates are obviously taken out by the filter roller, which you can see by this side of it. Obviously a lot of people's concerns is, does it smell? I don't think it does. I mean, it's in the cabinet that gets closed. There's a little gap I have obviously at the back there, where it goes out the wall, but I don't think it smells. I think it's alright. It saves you a lot of hassle apart from the changeover. Seems a good bit of kit. It's very simple. It's just this float switch, and when the water raises, it hits that float switch, and it'll move the roll on. Now, the only thing I would say about that, as a little note of caution, is that obviously this is going to fill up as it gets dirty. So actually your water level in your sump is going to change ever so slightly. Now, as you can see here, my water level, although there's a water level on there, it tends to sit, I can focus, sit a few millimetres below the float switch. The float switch actually, although the water's here and the float switch, it hits the float switch there, it needs to get up to almost overflowing through these bits before it will kick on. So it's quite good that it's got one of these at the front and the back. So you can actually, if you turn it off by accident or leave it off, it will start overflowing out there. It's quite noisy, so it reminds you to move it, to turn it back on. But it is a bit of a safety thing there, so it's not going to overflow and block all your pipes. But obviously, depending on your tank size, if that's going to be half decent proportion of your water coming up, then you might find that your auto top off goes off and your salt level goes up and down a bit. With this, as I said, it's 425 litres on top. I think it's meant to be about 75 in the sump, so it's meant to be a 500 litre system without displacement. So the 500 ml to a litre of water going up and down isn't going to make a huge amount of difference in my water levels generally. So yeah, if you can pick one up cheap like I did, I recommend them. They're pretty good, they're pretty simple. And I will just stick the filter back on so you can actually see. Get it back on. There we go. To be honest, the filter lens isn't brilliantly clean, but it does keep the water pretty crystal clear with some running some carbon as well. It really does keep the tank nice and clean. And I've just used a pump that I was using on a smaller tank, so I'm only turning this water over sort of 6-7 times an hour. I'm not turning it over loads, but it's enough to actually keep it nice and clear. So yeah, I'd recommend them if you can get them cheap. But if you've got the budget, yes, you're probably better off with the more expensive versions. But if you're on a budget and you want a filter roller, Bubble Magus one does the job. Hope that helps. If you've got any questions, put them down below.